Okay, so now we've got a way to go and get our profile data from our API. Let's open up the profile page and we'll use this to go and get our profile from the API. Now we're going to be using our store inside here, so we want to make this component an observer so that we're going to react to any changes in our store inside this component. And then what we want to do is we want to say const username equals, and we're going to get this from our root params, and we've done this before. We're using the React router hook to go and get the params from our root parameters, and just like before, it doesn't recognize the property username that exists on type object. So just as we've done before, we'll specify the type in here. So angle brackets, curly braces, we'll specify username is a type of string. And then we'll say const profile store equals use store. And what we'll do is just destructure what we need from the profile store underneath this. So we'll say const curly brackets equals profile store, and then we'll just go and destructure what we need inside here. So we'll need the loading profile. We'll also need the load profile method, and we'll need to get the profile as well from the profile store. And what we need to do is, inside this component, we're going to need to use a use effect so that we can actually call the load profile method when this component loads. So what we'll do, we'll say use effect, add the callback function, and then we'll say load profile and pass in the username. And for our dependencies for this use effect, it's going to be the load profile method and the username parameter. And what we'll also do is we'll check to see if we're loading profile, and if we are, we're going to return a loading component, and we'll give it some content and set this equal to loading profile ... And then what we can do is pass our profile down to our profile header. So we'll say profile equals profile, and of course we need to go and do this in the profile header. So we'll open up the profile header, and then we can populate the properties inside here. So we'll add an interface and call it props, and we'll say profile is a type of profile. And then we can go ahead and destructure profile in here and specify props. Now importantly, because this profile object is coming from our store, even though we're not accessing the store directly inside this component, we still need to make it an observer. Otherwise, we won't react to any changes in our observable inside this component. So even though we're not adding a store here, we still need the observer on this component as well. So let's add this and wrap it around our function. So let's go and just populate the things that we have available. So we've got our image, and we'll set this to profile.image, or it's going to be our placeholder image. For the display name, we'll say profile.displayName. And do we have anything else that we can populate at the moment? I'm going to say no, this is all we've got. And we've still got an error. And if we go back to our profile page, so of course our profile could be a profile or it could be null. So there's a few ways we can get around this. We can add the exclamation mark here, which would resolve the problem. Or we can use the curly brackets and say profile and double ampersand, and then add the closing exclamation mark here, so we only display the header if we actually have a profile. Either way gets rid of the warning here about this. And if we go take a look at our profile component, let's just refresh the page. What we should find is that we get the image, the display name, displayed in our profile now. And that's all the information we currently have. So there's not much we can get from this. If we go back to our activities and we click on a different profile, just to make sure this is working, then we see Tom's profile inside here. Excellent. What we're going to take a look at next is displaying the profile photos in this component.